Let's talk about Roger Rabbit Trail Mix-Up. So, this is the third of the three theatrical Roger Rabbit shorts. It came out on March 12th, 1993, with the film A Far Off Place, which Reese Witherspoon's in, apparently. This actually directed by a different team, Barry Cook, not Rob Minkoff and Frank Marshall, who did the live action. Rob Minkoff did the animation, although Rob Minkoff produced and helped write it. There was a definite delay between them, and because of what I talked about last time with the Roger Rabbit shorts, where Steven Spielberg got upset at Disney because them wanting to put it before Dick Tracy instead of Arachnophobia, even though I think that was a better choice, but I get he had a 50% stake and actually canceled a short that was already in development, which was called Hair in My Soup. He canceled it during it was like pretty far in pre-production, and he canceled that. And they actually canceled a bunch of other things they were developing in terms of Roger Rabbit stuff, and then worked on this one. Now, what's interesting is both this one and Roller Coaster Rabbit were made at the Florida studio rather than the California studio, so things like Mulan were made there, as well as Lilo and Stitch. They're a little looser, that studio. So watching this, I kind of came to a realization, and I think, well, not a realization, but something did dawn on me while watching this Roger Rabbit short, is because I've watched, I've gone through all the Roger Rabbit shorts, and I told you guys before, at the beginning of this, that I didn't feel like, and a lot of people felt, that Roger Rabbit doesn't make a compelling cartoon character. He doesn't make a good cartoon character. He just makes a good character in the story of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I agreed with until this short. Because this short, I think, introduces more of a formula. This one and Roller Coaster Rabbit work in a particular way. You get used to this formula, and you get used to what a Roger Rabbit cartoon should be, and it feels a little more unique. Whereas I think when Roger Rabbit, in both this and Roller Coaster Rabbit, they combine an absurd sense of comedy where just something ridiculous cartoony will happen with slapstick. I don't think that was highlighted as much in Tummy Trouble as it was in these two, and I think it works really well in this, and they get really slapstick. This is the silliest of the Roger Rabbit shorts. I think that's probably because it's directed by a different person, and a different creative team for the most part, although Rob Minkoff's there doing some stuff, but this seems to be a different thing. There's a lot of funny bits. I mean, the fact that the mom goes hunting is completely ridiculous. I mean, this plays it up so much, because it's like, why are they camping? Who cares? She's going hunting, and she'll basically kill Roger if something happens to baby. Which nothing happens to that baby. Like, everything just happens to Roger. Someone should watch after Roger, not this baby. Like, this baby's fine. Baby, like a tree gets cut and almost it's like crazy. But this plays differently. You get more of a Jessica Rabbit cameo than the previous ones, or just had her walking by or say a line. She has a whole scene, which is nicer. You get Droopy, who has to be in every Roger Rabbit thing apparently. Not sure why, but he's there. And I'm also not sure why the delay. I'm very curious how this one came together, which I can't find. Why suddenly it seemed like Hair in My Soup was canceled, then they made this. There's no reason behind it. But I think what works about this is we basically get the same formula we've gotten ever since the Roger Rabbit short we see at the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit to, all these others, the separate theatrical shorts is, the mom comes in and says, don't screw this up, I'll take you to the science lab, I'll shoot you in the face. She's a terrible employer, but, also, you're fired, all this stuff. She seems like the worst. And the baby's not great either. But, that's Roger's job, apparently. But you set this up, and having goes through this slapstick thing, although it works in Who Framed Roger Rabbit very well, if you're just watching that as an isolated thing, it doesn't work as well as its own thing. And I think when you play more with it and have more fun, like a Looney Tunes Tex Avery would, it highlights it more. But at this point, watching this cartoon, I'm getting used to the structure, the idea of what a Roger Rabbit short is. And I kind of thought about one of the things that hurts Roger Rabbit versus all the other cartoon characters is you probably know what a Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny cartoon is. You probably know what a Tom and Jerry cartoon is just by the structure, because we get so used to it. We're sort of desensitized to the structure. We don't even think about it. It's like background noise. You're just there for the gags. And the problem with Roger Rabbit is the specific kind of structure, which they definitely adhere to. A Roger Rabbit short adheres to a certain thing. And by the time watching this one, my mind is playing with me oh, this is how it's supposed to go. This is what Roger's supposed to do. And I instantly like this kind of a style. Now, the thing that sucked is I got this on the last one, But the thing with Bugs Bunny is, like, by the time, you know, you're 7 or 8, you've seen like 100 Bugs Bunny cartoons, theoretically. So I think, while watching this one, I started to accept Roger more, but he didn't have the luxury that all these other characters had. He theoretically only had 4 shorts, if you want to count Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but really it's 3. And, you know, one was 3 years later. So I feel like the idea of Roger as a separate cartoon character never really got to happen, because Bugs and Mickey Mouse and Pluto and Goofy, which is, you know, Roger's biggest influence, I guess, he never really got to build up that much. So I actually don't think, now I've changed from, I don't think it's the character's fault, like the character's bad or written too thin. I think it's the fact that we don't get to have that built up kind of knowledge of him, because that never happened, but because our relationship with him as a viewing audience never got to get there. But I like the absurdity of this. I like the live action parts, which I think is the only time the live action parts and the animated parts are directed by the same person. The live action parts, like, he destroys like Mount Rushmore. He basically destroys the world. So I guess that's why this is the last one. All this crazy stuff happens. This one goes to ridiculous extremes, which I sort of love really about it. It makes Trail Mix Up like a lot of fun. The thing is, like, I really want another one in this style. It felt like really cool. But this one, I think, is the most cartoony of all of them, and doesn't rely on the fact that, oh, we better show the live action world because, you know, you remember that's how you know Roger Rabbit, because cartoons in real world, like, they don't rely on that. And that also might be why I was like so passionate and sort of surprised by this, because the other ones sort of rely so heavily on it. But it does like play off of, like, I actually didn't know when Baby Herman broke character. I was like, wait, this isn't the cartoon still? Like, that was very, very good. Also, the cartoon on this used the CAP system, which is a compositing system. Also, with the color, a lot more of this was done in the computer. This did play on with a Far Off Place, which also I think is why, like, this one's a little more obscure than the others, because I've never heard of a Far Off Place. Is that a movie? I've like never heard of it before this. So I'm probably sure, you know, I did see like there was a tape later that had all 3 on it in '96 that you could watch all 3 shorts. I'd seen this short before because of that. I do not think I saw it before this movie, unless this movie made no impression on me. But this did play in the UK before Tarzan, and then in the US before Treasure Planet, and then in Australia before Brother Bear. So if you are like, but Jim, I saw this not before this obscure-ass Disney movie, it's because you saw it, in America at least, on Treasure Planet, since most of you are American. So yeah, I kind of came off of this one feeling a lot more positive about Roger, feeling a lot more positive about the idea of Roger Rabbit cartoons, and I think, you know what, we need to make more of them. I think it's a damn shame they didn't make more. The other ones that were considered, and I want to list these off, the other titles that were considered there were 3 more considered: Clean and Oppressed, Beach Blanket Bay, and Bronco Bustin' Bunny. And they were in the planning stages, but they were all canceled. Supposedly, I keep reading they're in the planning stages in the previous iteration of the that ended in 1990. We don't really know how true any of that is, but it seems like that is to be true. This really showed me more of the promise. I think the last 2 showed me, like, what should a Roger Rabbit cartoon be, and I think it showed you it can be more than slapstick, because it's like, do I really need another slapstick cartoon character? Not necessarily, but the weird absurdity and the crazy lengths they go made me want to watch another Roger Rabbit cartoon. I think Trail Mix Up does that really well. He has some funny slapstick bits actually as well, with the bees and all this stuff, but the things that really stuck out to me are like the real absurdity between like the tree almost squishing Baby Herman to like destroying Mount Rushmore to all these various things. It just looked like they had a lot of fun making it, and I think Barry Cook might come off as maybe this might be the best directed one, because he really just seemed to take his own and make and show what Roger Rabbit could be as just a cartoon character.